Hey everyone, welcome to How to Create Some Amazing Worksheet Forms. My name is Scott Robeson, and I'm with The Curious Life. You can find me at thecuriouslife.org or on my Facebook page at The Curious Life. So today we're going to review how easy it is to make a super simple form out of a PDF. Now we're not going to go into the design aspect of this too much. I'll maybe touch on a couple of things that might be good practices. The focus of this is really how to make a simple form in Acrobat using a PDF that you have already exported from your design program or from Microsoft Word. So I use InDesign in my design to create my worksheets, but you can honestly use whatever works for you. So what we're going to do is open up Acrobat right now, which is what's open. Now it has to be Acrobat Pro or Standard may work for this, but Pro for sure. Acrobat Reader will not work to create a form for you. So you're just going to click on Tools on the top left, and then we're going to go down to Prepare Form. Okay. We're going to select the file, but before we do that, one of the things I want to note is that this document requires signatures. That's turned off. And also turned off for me is the form field auto detection. And how you turn that off is that you just click that there. Okay. And what I did was that I clicked on the change button there. And I just turned that off. It's just not necessary. I personally don't think it really helps. So I'm going to go ahead and select my file and press start. So this is my PDF that I exported from InDesign. It's a 6-page document. The first 2 pages are important, and this is a little bit more of the design recommendation stuff I was talking about, but I do want to point it out. This is a really great opportunity for you to introduce your readers and your fans to your brand and what you do. The first page really should be a cover. It's who you are, your logo, and what it is exactly that you're going to be covering. The second page is going to be what is this about? It's going to be an introduction to who you are. It's going to be going over the finer points of what you're going to be accomplishing that day, and also just maybe some rules about how the class works or how your worksheet works. And the third page is where I began my real form here. So what we're going to do is really quickly just show you all of your tools are up on top. You've got your arrow, which is what's selected right now. That's why it's blue. You've got to add a text field, which is probably going to be your bread and butter of what you're going to be doing in most of your forms. There's also a checkbox or a radio button. There's also a list of choices or a drop-down menu. And then the rest of these you're really not going to use as much. This is a button to print something out, which frankly they can do probably from their own computer. This is to add an image. This is to add a date, a digital signature, and a barcode. Like I said, most of these we're not probably going to be using in our day-to-day. So let's start with the text field. So I just selected that, and now I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to make this the size and the position where I want it to be. And I'm just dragging that, okay? Now it automatically names it text 1, and this is your text field right here. Every time you create a new text field, it's going to name it something different. The reason being, if 2 text fields are named the same, the answer that's inputted into them by the user, by whoever's opening this up, will appear in every single field that's named the exact same thing. So we don't want that. So every text field is automatically named something different. We're going to go into all properties. Now, the name is text 1. You can name it whatever you want. The tooltip is what that little flyaway is, where you hover over an object with your mouse, okay? So we don't really need anything for that really right now. So this is where you can edit your border color, your fill color, your text size, and your font. Also, where you want this positioned. We already positioned it, so we don't really need to edit that too much. There's also a lot of other options as well that if you want to go into, you can, like check spelling, multi-line, scroll along text. Now, one of the things that I do recommend is you can check spelling. You can leave it on. I personally take it off. Multi-line you're going to want to put on. The reason why is because if you don't, that means that it's a single line. And when your users go and edit this form and they put in their information, it's going to keep it all on one line centered into the middle of that field. And it's just, the font is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it tries to fit everything in that they're saying. So obviously we don't want that. We want them to be able to write this and the cursor go down to the next line as it would in like a normal Word document. So we're going to check multi-line. And we're going to let the text scroll until it hits the end. And there's other things here like actions and formatting that get a little bit more technical, so we're just going to skip over that. It's not something that you're going to have to use. One of the other things that I wanted to point out, on the General tab, there is the Required button. This is really useful if you are collecting people's email addresses or other sort of information that you are going to require from them. You're going to be able to say, listen, this is a required field. I can't let you save this document until I get this information. So that's also really good to have. So there you go. That's our first text field right there. Now, if you want to preview this, there's a little preview button on the top right. Click that, and then we can just start typing in here. And there we go. So that is how that works. We're going to go back to edit, top right again. So I really wanted to quickly go over the difference between some of these other things that you may be using. So you've got checkboxes, okay? Let's say you've got multiple things you want checked. We're going to have that, and we're going to have another one here. Okay. Now when I go to preview that, we've got two checkboxes. You can check one, you can check both, whatever works. But let's say, I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Let's say you have an option where you have more of an either-or situation, where you have somebody who, let's say they're either going to be a student or an employee, okay? So we're going to make two of these radial buttons. Here's the first one. The name of let's call this student. Now, the difference between radio buttons and everything else is that it groups them together so that way the program knows how to make sure that only one of these selections is made. So it's automatically calling it group 4. So we're just going to call this status. Okay, and now we're going to add in another radio button. And look. The group name of status is already selected. If you have multiple groups, you're going to be able to select them from this drop-down menu. We're going to call this employee. Okay. Now, once we go to preview again, you're going to see that only one of these can be selected at any one time. So that's why we use radio buttons sometimes over checkboxes. Some of the other things here are the list tool and also list of choices and also the drop-down menu. So the difference between these is that list of choices, you can have multiple things that people can select. In a drop-down menu, they're only allowed to select one. So let's go to just look at the drop-down menu really quick. We'll start with that. We're only going to do one of these because they actually are pretty similar in their setup. So drop-down menu. So we're going to call this field, actually, you know what? Menu programs, and then we're going to go to all properties. So the tooltip, I usually like to put a tooltip on this one. Select below, and that's just going to pop up when they hover over it. Okay, appearance, position. Where we're going to is options here. So your first item in your drop down menu should always be choose from below, or something like that, okay? Because that's going to be the first thing that's going to automatically appear on that drop-down menu. So it's good to be an instruction. So then we're going to put InDesign, we'll put in Photoshop, we'll put in Illustrator, okay? Now if we wanted to move any of these around, let's say I want Illustrator to be first, select that, just press the up button. And that's it. So I'm going to make sure that the first one that I want selected is selected here, because if you look here, you actually see it. You can see choose from below sort of hiding out. If I select Illustrator here, Illustrator is going to be the one that's going to pop in first. So I want choose from below, and we're going to say close. Now here we go for a preview. Boom. They can select whichever they want. So you can ask people, hey, what design program do you guys like to use the most? You can have a whole list. You can list whatever you want, and this is a great way to get an answer from any of your readers. So that is the skinny on how to make a super simple form from a PDF. All you have to do at this point is just save it and distribute it, and you're good to go. If you have any questions at all, you can reach me at my website, which is thecuriouslife.org, or you can reach me at my Facebook page at The Curious Life. Thanks so much.